Hi everyone, what's going on? Welcome to the very first episode of Reptile Talk with PDDM89. So I decided I'm going to do this series of videos, and we're going to try to put one out maybe once every 2 weeks. It might be bi-weekly or bi-monthly. It depends. Depends on your guys' questions. I'm basically going to be answering one or two questions per Reptile Talk video, and I would prefer that it not be the same type of questions that I usually get in the YouTube comments. Basically things that I can answer with one line. I'd actually prefer if we touch maybe controversial topics, just because, let's be honest, that'll get me more views, and more views equals more money for me. So believe it or not, guys, it takes time to film these videos, and it's nice that YouTube kicks back a couple bucks my way every now and again. So anyways, rather than showing you guys my big dumb face during these videos, I decided that we'll show you guys an animal. Usually for the whole video we'll show you guys this one animal, and maybe for the first part of the video I'll give you a little bit of information on the species, how it should be kept, etc. So without further ado, let's get started. So for this very first episode of Reptile Talk, I have out here a carpet python. This is actually what we call an intergrade, just because it's not just one pure subspecies. As you can see, it is an albino. There's actually something else in this guy, but I'll keep that a little bit of a secret for now. But as far as the care goes, carpet pythons usually they all get around the same size, typically anywhere between 6 and 8 feet. Some really big coastals have been known to get larger than that. I believe there's accounts of some actually reaching 10 feet, but I've never seen one in person that big. But then again, coastals up here in Canada they seem to be kind of a rarity. Pure coastals, most of the coastals that are up here in Canada are mixed with other things, typically jungle. Most of the coastal stuff is going to also be intergrades, where again you're mixing it with one or more other subspecies of carpet pythons. And the reason for this is basically the jaguar gene was found in a coastal animal, and basically to make the jaguar animal prettier, they basically bred it with a whole bunch of other stuff such as jungles, IJs, etc. Now this guy here, because he is an albino, we know at least part of him is Darwin, and I believe the rest of him is coastal. But very nice looking animal. These make very, very good snakes. I think they even make great beginner pythons. Really, these snakes are kind of bulletproof. They do get kind of big, I mean, it depends. For how thick they get, I don't find that like 6 or 7 feet is too big of an animal. So your IJs, your jungles, I find that's a really manageable size. When they're adults, typically they need at the very least a 3 foot long by 2 foot by 2 foot cage. But obviously bigger is preferable. I found that these guys actually will use perches if you provide them. So, but yeah, this guy right here is a male. He's a 2014, and we'll be looking to breed him hopefully next year. We don't want to really push him to grow too fast and just end up being a fat snake, because typically most male snakes, if you just power feed them, they won't be the best of breeders. Sometimes it does work though. So, but this little dude here is on 14 day old rats, otherwise known as rat pups. And if you're interested in the weight, that's usually about 30 to 35 grams. So you can see these guys, they're like pretty snappy when they're young. Kind of normal. Sometimes you will have a very placid animal that will be very tame even from a small size, but typically carpet pythons, until they reach about their second or third year, they'll be a little bit like this. This is completely normal, and as with anything else, the more you handle it, the more it'll tame down. I would definitely not say that carpet pythons are an aggressive snake. A lot of snakes like green trees, carpet pythons, things like this, they tend to get like a bad rap. They definitely are more bitey than ball pythons, just to say, when they're young, but there are a lot of snakes that are more bitey than ball pythons when young. And they all basically grow out of it as they get older, as long as you handle them at least a little bit. um, Definitely worth it to take a couple bites when they're this size, rather than deal with an animal that never got used to handling, that's biting you when they weigh like 10 pounds and they're very big animals, because at that point it does start to hurt. um, so that's your little bit of information on carpet pythons. This guy's a real looker. Now, as for the topic we're going to as for the topic we're going to discuss today, it's going to be posting videos of snakes eating on Instagram, on YouTube, whatever. So just the other day, I posted a video of us feeding our snakes frozen thawed rodents. For those of you that don't know, usually frozen thawed rodents, they're killed in what's been deemed a humane way. Usually that is with a CO2 chamber. Contrary to some people who believe we were throwing like rodents into a freezer and killing them that way, which is probably not the greatest way to go, obviously. But yeah, they're killed usually in a CO2 chamber. Then they're frozen. Then we get them shipped to us. We don't kill the rodents ourselves here, and we thaw them out. And then we feed them to our snakes. And we got a lot of snakes here, a real lot of snakes, and every single one eats frozen thawed. I think I went over in the video some of the reasons why you should feed frozen thawed. Primarily, it's just really easier, especially like depending on where you live, but usually it is easier to find frozen thawed rodents than it is the proper size live rodents. Typically, if you only have 1 or 2 snakes, you're probably going to go to the pet store and you're going to get stuck with whatever sizes they have available. So sometimes to optimize the growth of your snake, this could be a bit of a pain, because usually if you have to choose, you're going to go with something that's a little bit too small rather than something that's a little bit too big when you're feeding live. Also, and this, I will say this, that when we have had to feed live, this has never really happened, but there is a chance that the rodent will hurt your snake, scar your snake, scratch your snake, whatever. It's never happened to us. Snakes are very effective. They're very efficient killers. They kill their prey with relative ease usually. So I've never had a case where a rat has done any damage to any of our snakes here. But we only had a few that were eating live, and now the whole gang is eating frozen. So, but back to the topic at hand, posting the videos. So for me, posting a video of your snake eating frozen is not a huge deal. I don't think, at least. People could see that the rodents are already dead. It's not like they're watching the rodent like running around the cage, which, personally is something I don't like to see. But anyways, I just find it's completely different. I mean, when you guys go and look back at my videos, you could see our rats, like, I don't even dry them off, so they look like just wet rats that I'm offering to the snake. I think that's a little bit different, personally, and I can't really tell you why, but just when you post videos on like Instagram or YouTube and you're throwing in a live animal in there, and you're watching the animal get cornered, you're watching the snake hunt, I could see the appeal of like watching the snake actually hunt, it flicking its tongue, it darting its head around. I could see the appeal of that. What I don't see the appeal to is watching that, that poor rodent like scurry around and like just trying to find a way out. And there has been a couple times where I've commented on people's videos on Instagram, and I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Why are you posting a video of live animals being killed? And people will get upset. They'll be like, oh man, it's just nature. I just don't agree with that. If we're talking about just nature, first of all, there's very few like snakes that are actually going to eat your domestic mice or domestic rats or domestic rabbits in the wild. They eat a wide variety of different things. But anyways, I just find that the very fact that the animal has no possible way of escape is not natural. I just find it very weird that that's everybody's argument. It's natural. It's natural. It's it's nature. This is nature. Okay. But a couple other things to consider, guys, is, especially like on Instagram, YouTube, it's a little bit different because, people will actively search out your videos. If they like you, they'll look at your videos. I mean, there's no real way for somebody to stumble upon like a snake eating live, but Instagram, a lot of the times, different weird things could end up on your feed if you search, if you use the search function on Instagram, and you may see an animal eating live even if you don't want to see it. Like, you see you look at something, you say, hey, what is this? You click on it, and all of a sudden you see like a rabbit getting thrown into like a friggin' 6-foot cage with a 11-foot berm in there, and somebody will be like, oh, no hate in the comments, this is nature. Yeah, okay. Nature, you're throwing I mean, for the snake, it's like shooting fish in the barrel. The whole argument about this is nature or this is natural, this is what happens in the wild, it's just so retarded to me, because what you're looking at right now is not natural. This is not nature. This ceramic bowl with water in it, always available to the snake, is not normal. The snake living in a plastic container is not normal. The snake being an albino is not even normal. This snake will get picked off in the wild and eaten by something for sure. This is not normal colors that this animal has. So I find that the argument that, it's natural for snakes to eat live, it doesn't even make sense anymore. It's also natural for snakes to like get mites and all kinds of weird things. It's natural for snakes to encounter shed problems as well too. Do we let our snakes get shed problems? Do we not shed our snakes out for them? Do we not spray them with prevenamite if they come down with mites? There's nothing that's really too natural about keeping exotic animals. We could do our best. We could try to give a really natural looking vivarium, but at the end of the day, we're taking something that's supposed to be in the wild and we're putting it into an enclosure, and we're keeping it for our enjoyment. So anyways, now maybe some of you will argue like, well, it's for my enjoyment that I'm gonna feed my animal live. And again, not something I understand. I kind of look at animals all in the same light. So to me, I will admit, certain things okay, feeding crickets, feeding even mice is a little bit different to me than feeding rats. But feeding rats is only so far away from feeding a rabbit, and a rabbit is only so far away to me from feeding a cat or a dog. And then when you say these types of things, I'm sure people who post videos of their animals eating rabbits, they'd probably freak out if you even were ever to mention feeding a dog to a snake or feeding a cat to a snake. But for whatever reason, they think it's okay to post a video of a rabbit getting eaten by a snake. So, and some people, they really do love rabbits, and they love bunnies, whatever. And some rabbit owners, again, could be on Instagram, and maybe they use the hashtag #rabbit often because they like rabbits, they like seeing rabbits. Maybe they'll search up rabbits, and then they'll get some douchebag who use the hashtag rabbit in his snake feeding video, and then they have to see that. And again, I'm kind of going all over off the rails here, but it's a slippery slope, because you don't want other pet owners to hate us, because you already have different organizations that are trying to prevent you from owning reptiles, and you're fueling the fire, because this person who's seeing your pet eat their favorite pet is probably not going to support you when it comes down to if you're looking for people to help support us keeping reptiles as a hobby. You're not going to be able to convince your buddy who has a rabbit that they should go out there and send emails or support us when it comes to fighting the people who don't want us to own reptiles. It's very hard to convince these people that we're doing something good here when we're posting videos of our animals killing other animals. And I just think it's a very bad look for the hobby. I think it's a bit of a black eye, and I mean, I would appreciate it if people would do this a lot less often. And And especially like there's some venomous keepers, like, and that's like a whole other thing. I mean, a constrictor, you know, usually they'll like grab the prey item, and you know they constrict it, and the rodent expires pretty quickly. But I mean, when it comes to venomous animals, you know, I can only imagine the pain that these animals go through, and the fear they must experience when they're in the process of being killed or consumed. So that's, I guess, the end of my rant. I think I basically covered everything. Now, I will say this. I believe one of the very few arguments that works for feeding live is that it's probably a little bit better for your snake, but how much better, I don't know. But, you know, usually most foods, when they are frozen, they lose some of their value. So I think there is something to feeding like either pre-killed or fresh killed, whatever you want to call it, or like a fresh live rodent. So I see that as having some benefit. But as far as like, you know, posting the videos, I just really don't understand why you have to do that. Or maybe I do. Maybe it's like, you know, clickbait. I was just saying at the very beginning of this video that I would like to cover controversial topics just so I could get more views. But at least when I'm going to be, you know, covering these topics, no live animals have to get killed, or I guess I can't even say that because, you know, my videos do involve snakes and the snakes do have to eat. So I can't even say that. But I mean, at least, you know, I'm discreet about it. I'm not like ever gonna show you guys our animals eating live, because there are some animals that will only eat live no matter how much you try. You know, I've had these animals in the past, and oftentimes when we get our baby ball pythons, they all have to start out on live. But I'll never show that just because I don't think it's right. I don't think it does anything good for our hobby for people to see our animals killing other animals. It makes our animals look scary, it makes our animals look dangerous, it makes our animals look like killers. And you know, that's what they are. You know, they're like great predators, and they're very efficient at killing their prey items. And anyways, guys, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm kind of all over the place. Hope you guys enjoyed this very first episode of Reptile Talk. I encourage you to not like or even click on videos of live animals getting fed to snakes, or live animals getting fed to anything, because it's not just snakes. You know, some people will post monitors and even crocodilians killing the rodents, and I can tell you this: it definitely looks like snakes kill the rodents a lot more. I don't know, I can't say humanely, but you know, it's different when a snake is grabbing a mouse and like it basically kills the mouse in a couple seconds than when you're seeing like a crocodilian or a monitor smashing the rodent into the ground and blood going all over the place. That's like, just, I don't even understand how people like that, watching little animals getting killed. But anyways, guys, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed. Like us on Facebook, Safari Reptiles, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you didn't like this video, well, go you know, not gonna swear here, but you know what I want you to go do. Anyways, take care, guys. See ya.